today's topic is trichome structure, or we can call it also called it as trichome complex. So when we were studying about epidermal tissue system, we have mentioned that one more component of the epidermal system is we have epidermal cells, stomatal cells and its types, and another one is trichome. So what are trichomes actually? Trichomes are nothing but these are also called as hairs or hair-like structures which are arising at the from the epidermis. So any hair-like structure or the appendages that are arising from the epidermis are called as trichomes, and in addition to trichomes there are some other structures, those are also called as emergence. See here these structures are called as hairs. These are epidermal cells, this is hair and this is emergence. So in addition to the hairs, there are certain hair-like structures resembling to the root hairs, those are called as emergence, and they are also developing from the epidermal tissue system, and these are helpful in the emergence are also like root hair-like structures, and for the development of emergence and root hairs, both the ground tissue system and the conducting tissue system are both unanimously helpful for the growth of this particular organ. Of all the epidermal tissue systems which are there, like stomata and epidermal cells, this hair or trichome complex is the most important type of structure which is helpful, and because on the basis of the arrangement or the types of hairs or trichomes present in a particular plant or the type of hairs originating from the epidermal cells, we can show or we can identify different plants or which family it belongs to, what type of structure it is having. So it is showing n number of variations, the origin or the types of hairs have n number of variations depending upon the different types of species. Now this basically the hairs which are originating, the special trichomes of the epidermis are useful for the identification and classification of many angiospermic plants. These are useful for classification of many angiospermic plants. Now these trichomes are almost present in almost all parts of the plants, and they may be persistent or deciduous, and the cell walls are made up of cellulose, pectin. In some cases you will also see the deposition of cutin is also present here. Some trichomes may be glandular, or some trichomes may be nectar secreting or secreting hairs will be present, and these are highly vacuolated structures, and they are of different types. When we come to the trichome structure, in trichome structure you will study about when we talk about trichome, you will identify it into two parts. You can divide a trichome into two parts, that is a foot and a embedded part. This you will identify trichome into proximal part, and another one is a distal part. Any trichome can be divided into two sections. The distal part, which is embedded in the epidermal cells, it is also called as foot, and the proximal part, which is growing above the epidermal cells, the outgrowth which is coming from the epidermal cell is called as proximal part. It is also called as head region, right? So on the basis of normally the classification of trichome was earlier done on the basis of the arrangement, function, structure, all this. The mature trichomes are basically divided into four types. Those are unicellular trichomes, uniseriate trichomes, third one is biseriate trichomes, and fourth one is multiseriate trichomes. And of these, the larger trichomes are called as the large size trichomes are called as macroforms, and the smaller trichomes are called as size filiform trichomes. The one which are in larger in size wise in trichomes, those are called as microforms, and the one which are in smaller ones like minute small hair like structures are called as filiform trichomes. Trichomes may be unicellular or multicellular. what is the difference between unicellular and multicellular? If it is a unicellular, it will have only one cell. Multicellular, it has many cells. And this type of, as we said, the trichomes may also be uniseriate, biseriate, or it may also be multiseriate. Okay. Now, when we say uniseriate, what is uniseriate? In uniseriate, the cells are arranged in single row. In biseriate, cells in 2 rows. And in multiseriate, cells occur in more than 2 rows. Means n number of rows. So these are the different types of possibilities of occurrence of different forms of trichomes available. So these are unicellular. If there is only one cell, occurring arrangement of cell is if they are having only one cell. If they are having many cells, then that is multicellular. Uniseriate, if the cells are arranged in single row. Cells in 2 rows are biseriate. Cells in more than 2 rows are called as multiseriate. Okay. Now, what are unicellular trichomes? These are normally seen in angiosperms. And the unicellular trichome is divided into 2 parts, that is foot and body part. When we talk about foot is a structure which is embedded in the epidermis. It is in the basal part of the body and it is distinct from the body. And again, one more is the body part. Body of the unicellular trichome, it is the emerged part of the body. Emerged part from the body means from the epidermal cells, the outgrowth which is coming outside is called as the body of the hair. And here, as it is a unicellular trichome, it shows much variations, like it may be in a shape of conical shape, or it may be clavate shape, or it may be flagellate shape, or it may be peltate shape. So these are the different shapes in which you can find out, you can see the occurrence of unicellular trichomes. So when it is a unicellular trichomes, then you can say unicellular conical hair, then unicellular clavate, unicellular flagellate, unicellular peltate type of trichomes present. Now we have different types of unicellular trichomes which I will be writing with examples. So this what we are going to study further with example, and then we will not go in detail what is what. So I will be giving the example for each type of trichome which is present, which may be coming under your multiple choice questions. We are supposed to study about different types of trichomes, in which the first trichome we are having is unicellular trichome. We said it is seen a maximum in angiosperm. We said it has 2 parts, foot and body. We talked about foot and body. Now we have different types of unicellular hairs. Here we will not go in depth what each section of unicellular hair is dealt with. So we will be giving you the types of unicellular hairs with the example of type studies in which you can see this type of hairs, so that this may cover your multiple choice. So the first one in unicellular hairs you have is unicellular conical hair type, where the body is conical in shape. Now here the example for this is Almania nodiflora. Next one is you have unicellular dumbbell shaped hairs. So here the body structure will be in the form of a dumbbell shaped structure. So here unicellular dumbbell shaped hair is present. It is present in Albizia lebac. Next, another one is unicellular flagellate shaped. The body will be in the form of whip-like flagella structure. So here example goes is Montignia calabura. Next one is unicellular capitate hair. The hair topmost body portion will be in the form of a cap. So we call it that structure as capitate hair. So this type of unicellular capitate hair is seen as Tribulus terrestris. Another one is unicellular peltate hair. This is seen in Lescurella scaffinaria. So these are the examples which are important to study when you are talking with regard to types of unicellular hairs. Maybe it is a unicellular conical, or it may be a dumbbell shape, or it may be a unicellular flagellate, or it may be a unicellular capitate, or it may be a unicellular peltate hair. Okay, next we will be studying about types of uniseriate hairs. Another type is types of uniseriate hairs. So we are not going in depth as usual. So the different types of uniseriate hairs we are having are, again we have unicellular, we have uniseriate conical hair, uniseriate cylindrical hairs, uniseriate dumbbell shaped hairs, uniseriate capitate hairs, capitate shaped hairs, uniseriate anchor hairs, uniseriate peltate surface view, and uniseriate peltate hairs. So the examples for this each individual uniseriate hair is important examination point of view, that is uniseriate conical hairs, these are Almania nodiflora. Next is uniseriate cylindrical hair, Celiosa argentea. Next, uniseriate dumbbell shaped hairs is Hibiscus cannabinus. Uniseriate capitate shaped hairs is Hibiscus rosa sinensis. Uniseriate anchor hair is Amaranthus viridis. Here the body will be in the form of anchor at the tip. Now next is uniseriate peltate hair, at the surface view it is Alternatharia pungens. And next is uniseriate peltate hair is Stachytarpeta indica. These are the examples. These are the scientific names of the plants in which you can see the development of structures like uniseriate hairs. It may be uniseriate conical, cylindrical, dumbbell, capitate, anchor or peltate surface view, or normal peltate hair. So take down these examples. This is where you get the questions like uniseriate anchor hair is seen in Amaranthus viridis. Okay, these examples are very important. The next type we are having is types of biseriate hairs. So another type what we are having is types of biseriate hairs. In biseriate hairs, these are the different types of biseriate hairs present. Biseriate hair may be conical, biseriate hair may be dumbbell shaped, it may be cylindrical shaped hair, or it may be peltate hair surface view, or it may be a just biseriate peltate hair lateral view side. So for dumbbell shape, it is example is Dichoma tomentosa. For cylindrical shape, it is Dichrostachys cinera, and peltate hair at the surface view it is again Dichoma tomentosa. Again peltate hair in lateral view it is Solanum argentum. So these are the examples which are important exam point of view. Next, types of multiseriate hairs. Multiseriate conical hairs, Arachis hypogea. Multiseriate dumbbell shaped hairs are seen. There are different types, cylindrical shaped hairs, stellate hairs, lateral view. These examples are not given because for intermediate MSET point of view this type of examples will not come. Okay, next is multiseriate stellate hair at the surface view. You will see an example of Sida acuta. So these are the different types of biseriate and multiseriate hairs. Totally the examples in the trichomes chapter is every individual type of hair. Biseriate may be uniseriate or multiseriate, or it may be a unicellular type of hair. We are not going here in depth of each subject. So at the exam point of view, each type will have a specific examples are given. So the questions may come. Dichoma tomentosa is an example for what type of biseriate hair. So it is an example for dumbbell shaped hair as well as an example for peltate hair at the surface view. In the same way, Arachis hypogea, what type of hair or trichome is seen? It is seen with the multiseriate conical hair types are seen in the Arachis hypogea. So basically in trichomes chapter you will get filling the blanks or multiple choice on the basis of types and the examples. So we have given you the list of unicellular, uniseriate, biseriate and multiseriate type of hairs. The next topic in this regard to trichomes, we say that we had trichomes. So in roots also we see the trichomes. Epidermis of the root is referred as we all know, it is also called as epiblema or rhizodermis. Okay, now these are specialized type of root hairs when comparing to all the other types of hairs which are present in all the shoot system. So normally in any root or in rhizodermis you will see the presence of unicellular tubular type of hair structures, but in the special case like in all the aerial adventitious roots of Kelonchi Fets Cankoi, it is a type of plant where you will see in rhizodermis hairs are multicellular hair like structures are present, and normally these root hairs arise from the tip of the root. And what is the major function of the root hairs? These are also called as the root hairs. The roots which give rise to trichomes are also called as trichoblasts. This is important. What is trichoblast? These are also the root hairs are small and dense. The root hairs which are arising from the rhizodermis are also called as trichoblast, or it is also called as pelliferous zone. It is also called as pelliferous cells. The cells have dense cytoplasm and the cells are small. So next one is, what is the main function of rhizodermis or root hairs? The main function of the root hairs is for the absorption. What absorption it will do? It will do the absorption of water and mineral nutrients from the soil into the roots. And the main other objective of root hairs is, in addition to the absorption of all the required content from the soil, it also helps in increasing the absorption area in the root area. The lengthwise it will be a diameter of 80 to 150 millimicrons, and the length of root hair will be 80 to 150 millimicron, and the diameter will be 5 to 7 micrometers. Now micrometers. Next one is, this cell wall is made up of the cell wall of root hairs is made up of cellulose and pectin. And these root hairs or roots have vacuoles. They have vacuoles in them. Normally we don't count. Okay. So the root hairs which are present in the roots are called as root hairs or rhizodermis. The rhizodermis is alternatively called as epiblema, and these are normal type of root hairs which are present in the rhizodermis are unicellular tubular hairs. But in the adventitious roots of particular plant, Kalonji, Feds, Coni, multicellular hairs are present. The root hairs which are smaller, the rhizodermal cells which give rise to the root hairs which are smaller, the rhizodermal cells which give rise to root hairs which are smaller with dense cytoplasm are called as trichoblast cells and pelliferous cells or peripheral cells. And the major function of these root hairs is absorption of the required nutrients from the soil to the plant body via root, and it also increases the area, expands, it helps expansion of the absorption area. The length of the root hairs will be approximately 8 to 150 micrometers. Next, diameter will be 5 to 7. Next, the cell wall is made up of cellulose and pectin, and here the older it has a capacity that the old root hairs or the old root tips, root hairs are replaced by the new one. Okay, this is about the rhizodermis and root hairs. Now when we come to conclusion, we are supposed to talk about functions of trichomes. Various types of, first and foremost function of trichome is, it protects the epidermis from the insects. And again, in halophytes, what it will do, it is useful for sending out the excess of salt from the halophyte plant, sends out excess of salt. Next one, there are different types of trichomes which we have not added in this lecture because that is out of syllabus. Like there are some trichomes, those are called as mucilaginous glandular trichomes. What is the use of these trichomes? This is mucilaginous glandular trichomes is useful for the secretion of mucilage. Now, this mucilage consists of polysaccharides in them, and this will come out of the get oozes out by the breakage of the cuticle, and through the pores which are present in the cuticle, this mucilage is secreted out. And example for this type of glandular trichome is rumex and renum. So another type of mucilaginous glandular trichomes which we haven't discussed till now, but the major one is mucilaginous glandular trichomes are those trichomes which are helpful in the secretion of mucilage, and this mucilage which is present here is a type of polysaccharide which gets oozes out through the cuticle breakage, because through the breakage of the cuticle, the pores which are present in the cuticle will secrete this mucilage. Example is rumex and rheum. Next one is nectar secreting. What does nectar secreting glands will do? Nectar secreting trichomes are helpful in the secretion of, as the name itself indicates, nectar secretion. These are helpful in the secretion of nectar secretion. And where does these all are present? These are present in the floral parts of the plant. And this type of special type of trichomes are helpful in the secretion of water and salts from the plant body, absorption of water and mineral salts from the plant body, soil to the plant body. And some of the trichomes are modified, which are helpful in the dispersal of, some of the trichomes are modified and they are helpful in the dispersal of seeds and fruits. Sometimes these types of trichomes are also, which are present in the floral parts, are also helpful in helping or functioning the floral parts in pollination. Indirectly, these trichomes are also helpful in undergoing pollination in the floral parts. Like there are some trichomes which are present in the floral regions. That floral regions, these make this type of hairs are helpful in making these floral parts as functional during the process of pollination. So these are few functions of trichomes. These are helpful in protecting the epidermis from the insects. Okay, there are some halophytes plants. So here these are useful for sending out, in halophyte plants the trichomes are useful for sending out excess of salt from the body. Now there is one more, mucilaginous glandular trichome, useful for the secretion of mucilage. Example is rumex and rheum. Another is nectar secreting trichome. These are majorly used for the secretion of nectar, normally present in all the floral parts. Next is, these trichomes are also modified into special structures, into hooks. What are the special structures? Into hook-like structures, and these are helpful in the secretion and meant for the dispersal of the seeds and the fruits. And in the trichomes which are present in the floral parts, helps these floral parts to get activated and undergo functioning during the process called as pollination. So this is about trichome. And this conclusion of trichomes ends with your epidermal tissue system. As per your syllabus, you have epidermis, stomatal types, trichomes. In trichomes, you are supposed to concentrate on the examples and the type studies or the type of trichomes which is present and the functions of trichome. And in stomatal types, you are supposed to study about what is the stomatal complex, structure of stoma, types of stoma, mesogenous, perigenous, different types of stomata according to Metcalfe and Chalk, and Pant classification. In epidermis, you are supposed to study about costal cells, buliform cells, epidermal cells. Okay.